You're listening to the Courtyard Club Call by the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport fan network, by county fans, for county fans.
Hey county fans, welcome to another Courtyard Club Call episode. We're on number 41 and we're going to be talking Burton at home. For the audio listeners, I've got my county scarf on this week and I will not anything else ever, I don't think. Anyways, let's move on to this game. Dan, you take us through the team, please, buddy.
Yeah, no worries. Obviously the changes we expected. Obviously Hills dropped out at the start 11 because of his suspension, which has been confirmed that he shouldn't have got a second yellow. So starting off in goals, Corey Addai. I think we started obviously with a back four, and I think Dave alluded to that in his post-match with Noyle, Connolly, Pye and Torre. We had Bate and Norwood who came back into the side as well. Obviously, Callum Camps has been confirmed that he's likely to be injured for the rest of the season, might make an appearance in the playoffs. But personally, I think, he's out for the season. Fevier and Collar, the next two. And then same again, I've put them a little bit wider than the midfield. They weren't wingers, but they were sort of definitely sort of playing as sort of two number 10s as such. And then Tanto and Wootton up front. So 4-2-2-2. And we started off really lively.
Yeah, I mean, first 15 minutes, Dave, it looked like a 2-4-4 to me, with the way that the not wing backs, the fullbacks were pushing on. It was a super fast start, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought for the first 15-20 minutes looked as good as what I've seen us play for a while. I don't know whether it was the fact that we were playing quite well and the opposition were really poor, or they wasn't very good at all. And then after that, it kind of got a bit quiet and went downhill for a bit, didn't it? After we scored.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, even after we scored, Dave, we still had another chance to make it 2, didn't we? So let's talk about that goal then. So Collar had a shot from sort of near the edge of the box, I guess, just inside the box, saved by the keeper. I was impressed with him. I thought he was a decent keeper, although Addai was amazing, to be fair. So Collar had the shot, keeper made the save, and right place, right time, headed it in. First goal in 4.5 months, is it? Something like that?
I don't know. He got the goal at Leighton Orient away. That was on my birthday, 1st of Feb.
Okay.
So, I think that was his last goal he got. Wootton was Leighton Orient away. Similar sort of type of goal, really, wasn't it? That he's sort of like a reaction to, I think, the goalkeeper making a save and putting the ball in the back of the net. So, it was just, I don't know. Like I say, I started off really, really well. Some good movement between that sort of like midfield four in the front two. Sort of really nice passing, little one-touch football, moving it quickly. And I thought, first 10-15 minutes, this is like, this is going to be 3-0 at half time, and rubbing my hands, thinking, great, we're going to see Anderson in the second half. We're going to see Nick Powell in the second half. We get that goal, and you think, boom, here we go. We're off here. These guys have really got caught with their pants pulled down. And then Tanto goes through one-on-one, and you think to yourself, he should be putting that chance in the back of the net.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I mean, if we'd gone 2-0 up at that point, I think they'd have just like given up, basically. Tanto, maybe one of those situations where did he have a little bit too much time? I think the main criticism of him, and he's such a good striker, don't get me wrong, but he's a guy that plays on instincts. We've said this loads of times. When he has that time to think, where am I going to place it? Invariably, I'll be at this massively because he had another chance in the second half that he buried, but invariably he smacks it at the keeper. So disappointing not to go 2-0 up there. Mention for Norwood and Bate actually in that first half. I thought we were crying out for Norwood in the game last week, and it was just brilliant seeing those two sort of playing again together, popping the balls off. And they were one of the big reasons, I think, why we played so well in that first 15, 20 minutes. I mean, as you said, Dave, maybe the best that we've pressed all season in those first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Wasn't giving them any sort of time on the ball. Winning it back high up. Yeah, did really well.
So on 18 minutes, and I think this is where they sort of started into it, Corey made top save, actually, low down to his right. Not an easy save, I wouldn't say, for someone of his height, and he got down really well. And again, at the start of the season, one of our criticisms of Corey, and we haven't got any goalkeepers on, have we? But one of our criticisms really was that he looked a bit slow to get down, the way that he almost dropped to the ground, sort of left or right of him for shots that were very close to him. And I was really impressed with that. So the goalkeeping coach, they're definitely doing some good with him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and
he was good today.
Yeah,
commanded his area a lot better than what he has done previously as well. It was kind of like he wasn't like on that string that attached him to his line. He was coming off his line, claimed a couple of good high balls into the box and stuff. Got down a couple of times, like you said, made a couple of good saves. Did all right. Solid performance today by him. Yep, loved it.
How much of a confidence player do we think he is, Dan? Because to me, he looks like someone that feeds off confidence and positivity.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen it before. When he makes a mistake, his head drops. He looks 5'7", not 6'7". You know, and the same as all. We're all human beings. You know, this is what I think we forget at times. You know, it might be his job, but he's a human being at the end. And if he makes a mistake, some players can brush it off and not dwell on it very quickly. Some obviously lingers a little bit and overthinks what he's doing and tries to overcorrect himself. But same again, this was for me, and like I say, even last Saturday, you couldn't put any the goal or anything down to his, fault in Corey. And like you say, I think since he's actually come in for Ben, which was like that Wigan game at half. Well, I don't know if it was half time, just before half time when he came on when Ben got injured at the way it's Wigan. I actually think he's actually been a better goalkeeper than what he has when he had that stint in the first team at the beginning of the season, for sure. And that's all you want of players, to see a progression and improvement over a period of time. And yeah, I'm happy with that with him.
Yes, spot on. I mean, Ben's not getting back in the team this season, even if he does come back now. It's definitely Corey's number one position, or he is number one now, 100%. Interesting that we had got Andrew Wogan back from Marine, I want to say.
Yeah, there was talk that was addressed by Challoner in his interviews. Basically, Max hasn't had a lot of goalkeeping time playing. Obviously, the other lad that came over from Ireland played a lot of game time before Christmas over in Ireland. So he's had plenty of game time. Obviously, Max hasn't. So obviously what they've done for the loan window, I think, closed on the day that they did the transfer deal. So they've basically just swapped the two over. So at the end of the season, they both get a little bit more. They've had equal amount of game time playing in competitive football opposed to sort of reserve football. So it makes sense. I can understand why. And like I think Dave Challoner said, that we shouldn't have to use either goalkeeper really. So
yeah, no, it's a good shout. So moving towards the end of that half, they had a lot of corners. Didn't really do anything with them, to be fair. Big talking point for me was the booking for their player on 47 minutes. So Fevrier was away, and there, I think it was number 36. He just came in and absolutely sized him down.
Yeah.
Well, there was a little bit bags.
Well, there was a little bit before that, weren't there? Because there was a penalty claim between the two players. Literally just before that, he thought Fevs fouled him in the box and it was a penalty. And that's where that actually all started from, obviously. And then the ball came to Fevs on the line, and he's got himself off the ground and run straight for Fevs and basically took him straight out on that. And yeah, that was a booking on just for that part alone. And then there was obviously a little bit of handbags, which, same again, Fevs got up, stood his ground. What I loved seeing, actually, and a lot of people say I don't want to see that, I love seeing when your teammates come in. You know, I as some of you know, I coach rugby, boy plays rugby. I love it when your teammates come piling in to cover your back for me. That tells me everything I want to know about a team and a squad, that, you know, you push one, you push them all. And that was great to see, to be honest, for, you know, for a group togetherness and everything, that when Fevier went toe to toe, you weren't just standing toe to toe with Fevs, you were standing toe to toe with the rest of the team.
You watched it on TV, Dan. Obviously, we were in the Cheadle end, so it was the pitch for us. It looked high from their guy, high, dangerous, very late, designed to stop Fevier getting up the pitch, maybe having a goal scoring opportunity. Any chance of it being a red?
No, it was a petulant trip. And that's what it was, a petulant trip. We've seen it before. Plenty of counter plays.
So the one I'm thinking of, he came steaming in from the side.
Yeah, he's basically like sort of
leg on leg.
No, it's like leg on leg. He's took his leg away from him. It's petulance. It's petulance because you weren't given a penalty. It was a yellow card. That was it. That's all it was. And like I say, the handbags bit after it, as Dave I think we've said, or actually John Kieran said, if you're going to give Fevier a booking for the handbags, then obviously
he's got to get one as well.
They should get what he should get one as well for the handbags, as well as a yellow card just for the foul. But yeah, it was just handbags. But like I say, for me, I love seeing when your teammates stick up and back you, and you know, you push one, you push them all type attitude. I love it.
So that first half then, very even, 54 to 46% possession. We had an XG of 1, they had 0.98, 4 shots each. We had 4 on target, they had 2 on target, and similar number of passes, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, Dave, were you expecting any subs at half time after that first half?
I didn't think he'd make any, no. I thought we was quite comfortable, but although we weren't playing brilliantly, I just thought, why change it, you know? But then, flip side, Charlie obviously thought, well, we need to a bit poor.
Yeah, it felt that the momentum of the game after sort of 20 minutes completely ran away from us. And what I was more worried about is the number of set pieces that they were sort of accumulating. We know they're a very good set piece side. You know, Dave's alluded to that and saying that I think under Bowyer they're actually one of the best teams in the division on set pieces during his time. And yeah, that momentum was building definitely towards sort of Burton, sort of like that last 20 minutes of that half. And for me, half time come at a good time, I thought.
Do you think he was right to stick horse on for the second half to bolster that defence then?
Well, I don't know if it was bolster defence. I think Dave mentioned it, that he's gone to sort of mar up with their formation a little bit. He's gone obviously 3 at the back with wing backs, put 2 number 10s behind Alafi, and he's sort of gone like for like with Burton, because like I say, they were getting a lot of the possession. They were dominating the play a little bit, and I think, like I say, he's just gone to sort of try and match them up.
A little bit rusty, wasn't he, Dave? His first touch, I think, was a shank into the together stand. He got it all wrong.
Yeah, he did, definitely. Just one of them moments, wasn't it, where it's like, right, you know, first minute back on a pitch. Let's have a good solid minute or so, and he the first touch, dink. Oh well, we'll forgive him because he is decent, and let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out, what, 3 months, is it? Is it nearly 4 months? It's been a while.
Been a while, yeah.
Was it Huddersfield? Did he get injured or round about Christmas time on it? Was it the Huddersfield game he got? Or did he miss the Huddersfield game and it was the game before? Rotherham, wasn't it? Rotherham away, he went off because it was a long injury, I remember now. Yeah, he's like I say, he needs more game time. But same again, we're in that position where you have to chuck him in the deep end. Dave Challoner mentioned in his interview that he would have put Powell on at halftime as well, but knows that Powell hasn't got 45 minutes in him at the moment, so that's why his substitution came along later. Otherwise, I think he would have come on as well at halftime.
Yeah, so before that substitution, only thing I note from my point of view was Addai made a great save from a free kick that we conceded on the edge of the box. The hit it pretty well, to be fair. And again, Addai got down nice and quickly to his right, pushed it out, I think it was. Again, confidence for him. And the second half, you're right, Dave. He definitely commanded his box well. He came out when he needed to. He even collected the ball pretty much on the edge of his area at one stage. And as you say, that piece of string's definitely been cut by somebody.
Definitely. 100%.
So,
big pair of scissors.
Yeah. So 65 minutes, Powell and Diamond came on for Collar and February. So Powell's not played for probably five, maybe even 6 months.
It was Lincoln his last game, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of October, Lincoln away.
A long time ago. And I'm always, you just got your hand, like your heart in your mouth whenever he sort of goes in for any tackle comes in on him. I think at one stage he was running with the ball and there were 3 guys all around him, sort of nipping at his heels. But what you got to say about him is he's just so calm, and his use of the ball, he makes the right decision 9 times out of 10 with where he pops that ball off to. It's very unusual for him to make the wrong ball, and they tend to be attacking. He'll look forward much before looking backwards. So lovely seeing him in the team, and I've got a feeling that when we end up in the playoffs, because we're going to be in the playoffs now, we're 7 points clear of 7th, I think it is. When he's match fit, we have got a real good chance, I think, of winning those playoffs if we can.
Unlocks doors, doesn't he? You know, his range and his vision of passing, ridiculous. It's up there with some of the best we've seen. You know,
it was funny in the sort of midway through, or I think it was on about like 80th minute or something, and he ran with the ball and he just sort of fell over, didn't he? Like there's no way around it.
Yeah, as he was running, he sort of thought, I don't know what I'm doing here.
No, I think it was his brain was way ahead of what his body could do at the moment, because he's not match fit. So he was sort of thinking, right, I need to put it there, and his legs just like collapsed from underneath him. I felt quite sorry for him, but I thought himself, mate. But he was fine, wasn't he?
Everyone near me was just laughing at him when that happened. I must admit, I did find it amusing.
Yeah, but he got up, dusted himself down, and did a bit of running around as well. And let's not forget, like, whenever he's been in the team, pretty sure last season was he something like our best tackler? Like everyone used to think, oh yeah, Crow's our best tackler. I'm sure Powell's tackling figures, he had the most successful tackles per 90 minutes, I think, for like last season. And again, he made an amazing block. So it was about 5 minutes to go, I think it was, from a shot. Go on, Dan.
No, I was going to say, I he's got a knack as well of actually making players around him a lot better. I thought his link-up play with Jack Diamond at times was really, really good. And like I say, he's got that knack or that skill where he's, like I say, makes certain players play a lot better, a lot quicker, a lot more intelligently. And like I say, I just thought him and Jack Diamond actually were both a pleasure in that second half when they came on.
I think Jack's put in a good sort of note to Dave to say, pick me for Tuesday. He looked really positive, and let's face it, like last weekend against Wrexham, he also looked super positive when he came on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him come in for Febs, because he's just come back from an injury anyway. So maybe 2 games in 3 days is a bit too much for him.
Well, as Dave mentioned in his interview, that the starting 11 on Tuesday night will be the fittest 11 opposed to anything else. That who's available and who's fit to play will be the starting 11, because the selection pool is not very deep at the moment.
Yeah, especially with Pi being sent up. We'll just have a chat about that later. So next thing I know, 75 minutes, Tanto scored a great goal. A fantastic ball by Diamond. I mean, I know he had the whole of pretty much a quarter of the pitch to aim for, but he put it right into Tanto's path.
Yeah.
Were we thinking, Dave, that he was going to miss it? Or were you confident?
The thing is with Tanto, sometimes I feel like if he's got time, because it was like the one in the first half, if he's got time and he has to think about it, sometimes it's a bit like touch and go with him. And when he's got a shot on instinct, he's much better. But I must admit, I was just a bit like, oh God, what's he going to do with this? And then he just rolled it in, like calm as you like. And I was like, why did he even doubt myself? Yeah, great finish from him.
For me, the finish actually was the easy part of that whole thing. The skill part was actually staying on side.
Yeah.
The amount of times we've seen it before, because it would have been so easy, and lesser players would have got themselves offside. You know, you could see it on the TV stream that him holding his run, staying well onside. I know they were complaining that he was offside, but he was absolutely, a couple of yards onside, and he's held his run because. Same again, we've seen it before and you shouldn't be offside from that position because he was looking straight across at the line. You can see everything on there. So yeah, for me, the actual hard part was staying onside because we've seen it before. And like you say, the easy part for him then was just rolling it. I think the goalkeeper tried to call his bluff a little bit as well by claiming the offside. And but yeah, so we just wish he could have done that in the first half as well. Because to be honest, I think Tanto could have had an hat-trick in that game. He had also a header in the first half as well. I thought he could have done a little bit better with. So, it is one of them games I look back and think, actually, you probably had an opportunity to get an hat-trick here, Tanto.
So on 78 minutes, they brought former county striker Jack Stretton on, and we brought on Owen Moxon. At 2-0, I was thinking two things. One, they can't come back from 2-0 down. But I was also thinking, Jack Stretton scores against us. He almost did. No, he didn't almost do, but he certainly got an assist.
Yeah, he got an assist.
Clever header back to their guy who smacked it in. Addai, no chance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's not... No blame on Corey at all. He couldn't do anything. I don't think Ben would have done... There's no goalkeeper who would have done anything. Even a Premier League goalkeeper would have struggled with that. Yeah, and Jack put himself about. He was a bit physical. Now, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
The thing I like about Jack Stretton, I know he's not our player anymore, but I was watching him matching up against Horsfall, and he's a nightmare to mark. He just kept pulling away and just finding little pockets of space. And he's actually the sort of player that I reckon if Nick Powell played with, I reckon they'd do pretty well together. He makes players better. Fine example last season, Conor Lemonhay-Evans. Whenever those two played together, they were amazing down that sort of that right-hand side. I remember going to Forest Green away, and was it Richardson? Rico Richards.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Is that him? Yeah. The guy from Aston Villa. Those three played so well in that game, and it was all about Nick Powell sort of pulling the strings. So Moxon comes on for Lewis Bate, and then 5 minutes later, Benno came on for Tanto. And I thought the game was just petering out a bit, but they get their one goal, and then there's 7 minutes injury time. And then he gets himself sent off, 2 yellow cards.
Do you know what the funny thing about that is? Dave said in his post-match interview that he didn't even realise Ethan Pye had been booked in already. So I don't know if it was one of the... Obviously, we all know that Challoner likes to go for a toilet break at some point. But yeah, he weren't even aware that Pye had already been booked, so he was absolutely gobsmacked. But like you say, he weren't happy with obviously the goal. He weren't happy with players not following their runners and marking their runners. And he was unhappy that sloppiness is basically led to basically pressure being put on. And that's where obviously the red cards come from, by same again, other players not doing their jobs. I thought Ethan Pye started to look very tired in that sort of like last 10, 15 minutes. He looked really leggy. It was a booking. There's no arguing about that. It was definitely a booking. But yeah, unfortunate. But then again, it could be actually a bit of a godsend that he gets a rest on Tuesday, because the poor lad deserves one.
Let's face it, Brad Hill's coming back in anyway, so it's not as if it were okay. Hills isn't left-footed, but he seems to be able to play anywhere along that back line. So I've got no problems with that. And to be honest, let's face it, Stevenage, pretty much. Am I right in saying they're a bit of a long ball team, Dave? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they're a long ball team, aren't they? Quite physical.
They kind of are, yeah. I mean, they kind of go from back to front pretty quick, but they always seem to do well against us for some reason. I don't know why. Last couple of seasons when I've been to Stevenage, you're like, we're having them here. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, something happens in the last 10 minutes, a red card again, I think last time I went there, I think we were opening or one of the first games back in League Two, and we're winning.
When Ash Palmer got sent off in like the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. We're like 1-0 up, and then and before you know it, we've lost the game 2-1 with Ash Palmer off the pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I say, they come thick and fast each game now, as Dave's alluded to, that the intensity, the importance of each game gets bigger and bigger. The mistakes are highlighted even more and have more consequence than what they do, obviously, at the beginning of the season. But, roll on. We've got something to play for. We've got something to fight for. We, can't knock it. So, we embrace it and we enjoy it, and we go on. But, it's hopefully Ethan gets to put his feet up a little bit, because I think, as Dave said, for him, he's been the player of the season so far out of the county squad. But yeah, I don't think like I say, some good interceptions, but as that game went on, I thought he started really looking a bit tired and leggy.
And that's the pressure that we've got with him being the only left-sided centre-back. Let's face it, he's pretty much the first name on the team sheet by default, I guess, even though he is a very, very good player, obviously. But all good players still need to be rested every now and then, and he just hasn't, has he? So if we go through these second half stats, we were looking at, so they had 59% possession, we had 41. Our XG was 0.95 to their 0.54. We only had 2 shots in that half, 1 on target. They had 8, 2 on target. Out past us, we didn't have 1 corner in the whole game. It's a funny little stat for you. No corners at all. They had 7. Wonder when the last time was that we didn't have a corner in a game.
I don't know.
I'm not asking you to sort of get it off the top of your head, Dan. Like,
no, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, because as some of you know, I do a spreadsheet for every game this season, and going through it, and some of the stats I keep a tally on. So I can tell you, going through the spreadsheet, and then we're going back now.
You've got far too much time on your hands, mate. If you do
Wigan at home, we had 1 corner, and that's as worse as it gets. Is Wigan at home earlier in the season, where we had 1 corner. So they've managed to, beat that stat. So, that's not happened this season. And the worst was, like I say, before that was 1. We've had a few games where we've got 2, 3. The most, having a quick look, by the looks of it, we've got into double figures once. Having a quick scan.
So for all you Bet365 listeners, do not bet on county over 6 corners.
So, like I say, before today's game, because we're recording this actually on Saturday afternoon, the worst game was Wigan at home, and the best game for corners was Wigan away. So we've gone from 1 corner to 10 corners. Obviously, today's game, 0 corners.
Yeah, funny old game. So moving on to man of the match then. Fotmob gave it to Addai, well out ahead on 8.5. Next player behind him was Wootton with a 7.7.
He only played half a game.
He was that good.
In fairness to Wootton, in that first half, he was very good. Certainly the first 15, 20 minutes, it was like prime Wootton, the way he was holding the ball up, bringing players in. He wasn't engaging in these sort of manhandling things with the central defenders, and he was really good.
He didn't have to. That's the thing, because he had players around him. The ball was on the deck. They were moving it around, passing it about, and like you say, but if you get him isolated and they then start pinging long balls up to him, he's got to do what he's got to do. But like you say, I think at times Wootton is a better footballer than a lot of people give credit to. And if you play football, have footballers around him that want to play football on the deck, pass and move, flicks, turns, and like you say, that first 20 minutes was as good as any 20 minutes that we've played this season, then you see a better player out of Wootton.
Would you have given it Addai, Dave?
Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. Today made a good few saves, as we've already alluded to, but yeah, I thought he played really well today, Corey. Decent. Nice to see the fact that he's kind of showing us now the reason why we actually went for him in the first place, because none of us saw that at the start of the season. So fair play, he's come in, he's got his chance after Ben's injury, and he just seems now he's sort of got a few games. At the start, when he first came in, obviously at Wigan, he made a couple of great saves. And then in the next couple of games after that, it was kind of a bit like, oh dear, here we go again. He's reverting back to the old guy that we saw at the start of the season. But last couple of games, he's sort of stepped up another gear again. And like you say, playing as a keeper anyway, it is a confidence thing. So the more time you get in the sticks and you produce saves, it gives you that confidence. It still eats himself up a bit at times, though, when he gets really angry with himself when he puts a kick somewhere that's not where he's actually aimed it, and then he gets a bit upset with himself, and it's just like, well, yeah, I get that, but just move on, man. Just forget about it.
Yeah,
your main thing, mate, is to stop the ball going in the net.
Yeah, there was there was a second half bit where he kicked the ball, and I know that John Kieran was saying that Dave was doing his nutting because it's gone from one goalkeeper to the next.
He don't like that, Charlie, does he?
No, and I to be honest, Corey's one of them goalkeepers. I reckon, because I always think he's holding back on his kicks. I think he's got enough kick actually to go from one goal to the next. And he's one of them ones. I think he could, score a goal because I think he's got a strong enough kick to actually for that ball to go straight into the other net. I don't know if you guys watched the interview that the club did with Corey that came out at the end of last week.
I briefly watched it last night, but I just got back from the boozer, so I'm not going to lie, I fell asleep.
No, I think it's a great listen. He talks really, really well, Corey. He does, and I think he talks really, really well. And I think, he's a nice lad. He's a good lad. I think he's absolutely an asset to this squad and this team.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so should we sort of wrap up that game then? So probably a solid 6 out of 10. The fact we got the 3 points is the main thing from that. Subpar performance from the team, probably you would say, but we won, and that is the main thing really at this part of the season. I know that Dave bangs this drum, doesn't he? Of he would rather we play better, and maybe not. Like he said that in the past, doesn't he? But at this stage of the season, you just got to get the 3 points on the board and move on to the next game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially with the obviously the players that we've got available, we just have to find a way. I must admit, it was like pulling teeth at points this game. One of them games where I struggled to stay awake in parts of it. I felt my eyes were nodding off. It was painful to watch in parts. It weren't the best performance in parts. Like I said, if we go from the first 20 minutes being really, really good, and I think I've said this before, 20 minutes we looked like Barcelona, and then 20 minutes we looked like the dog and duck. And it was one of them sort of games and performances, unfortunately. So, we got through it. We got the win. We bounced back again, which is the same again. I think another great stat from this season that, when we do find a defeat on the road or at home, the next game we find something to stop that rot, and we bounce back from it. So yeah, we got through it. No real controversies. I don't think the referee, I think he had an okay game. I don't think there was anything that I'm really upset about he got wrong or anything like that. All the major decisions, I thought he was spot on, which is, all I care for about, really. I know that Torre was upset about his yellow card, but you sort of play silly games, you win silly prizes, to be honest.
He did get booed up at half time, Dan, to be fair. So in the ground we thought he was pretty shit for the first half.
No,
I think it was mainly because we sort of felt that he didn't handle that Fevrier and their number 36 coming together particularly well. The fact that he booked both players, and as you've already alluded to, the fact that, well, there should have been a booking for his part of the handbags as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I sort of agree with what you're saying when you're looking back now with hindsight. Did he make it? And this is what I said to Chloe when we were walking back to the car. This is what Dave always says. Has the referee made any decisions that have affected the outcome of that game? And you've got to say, for that game, no, we deserve to win. He's not made a decision that's enabled us to win, or conversely, if we lost, made us lose. And you can't say that all the time, can you? So,
did they say on TV, Dan, what the hold-up was to the start of the game?
Yeah, apparently there was issues with the toilets in the pop side, and they couldn't allow people to go through the turnstiles until the issue was sorted with the toilets. And so that was the problem. There was people at the turnstiles outside the ground waiting to get in.
Yeah, there was. Well, we was in the courtyard, and there was a massive queue of people, and then they had a tractor come up with a big suction thing on the back. So I'm guessing he was there to maybe clean out some septic tank or something. I don't know, but yeah, something must have been going on. So that was the hold up then. All right.
Yeah, that's
because in the stands we were just sort of like, well, what's going on? Why is it not kicked off yet? And then it just got on with it, didn't they? Then
they did. So they're looking at the table. I'm just going to concentrate on us. So we are on 68 points, played 39. So there's 7 games of the season left. And the good news is we are 7 points clear of Huddersfield, but they've got a game in hand, and 8 points clear of Bolton, who played the same number of games as us. So it's got to be playoffs, hasn't it, Dave? It's got to be playoff.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's what we're going to hope to achieve now. I'd like to think that with only 7 games left, it's a nailed-on thing, but we all know that this is Stockport County, and we don't do things easily. So it's just one of them. Fingers crossed. How many games do we need to win out of the last 7 or something to secure it now?
Well, to be honest, we go this time next week. We could be really secure in that position. Everyone plays Tuesday night. Obviously, we got Stevenage at home, and then obviously we're away to Exeter next Saturday. By 5 o'clock Saturday, we could have that playoff position secured, depending on the results going our way. So yeah, it's a bit of an exciting time, really. Like I said, these 3 games, we said before, these 3 games that we're now into, this block of 3, could have been more important than the 3 that we've just played as such. And then, like I say, the majority of the games we got left this season are home games as well, so that will obviously influence us. We've only got 3 away games left this season, with obviously Exeter away, Peterborough, and then the last game against Wickham.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's all to play for. And same again, there's some cracking games on Tuesday night. Wigan v Bolton shouts out as an interesting one. Can Mansfield do anything against Charlton, Lincoln, Huddersfield? So yeah, Cambridge against Wrexham. Same again, that Cambridge have, like Bitburn, have found a little bit of form lately, so that one will be quite interesting. So yeah, it's an interesting time, and roll on this time next week and see where we are. Because, like I say, we could have a playoff spot secure by then.
So this game against Stevenage, they are the second lowest scorers in the division. Played 38, scored 35, but they've got a pretty good defensive record. They've only conceded 39 goals. So it's going to be a low-scoring game, one would imagine. But so long as we nick it 1-0, I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, I'll be more than happy with that too.
Yeah. Okay, then, guys.
The other thing to obviously as well, that obviously the Exeter game, obviously next Saturday, will be Dave Challoner's 200th game in charge of county as well. So it's another little milestone that's obviously flagged up, that the Exeter will be his 200th game in charge of county.
Yeah, good point, Dan. So yeah, I think that's us done, guys. So thanks for joining us, Dave. As always, and look forward to seeing you again soon, and fingers crossed for 3 points on Tuesday. Cheers, guys.
See you later, boys. See you in a bit.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow county fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!